Let's go. How's everybody doing today? Let me log off some stuff here real quick. CAT system's fully implemented. Yeah, I saw that. And I mean, here's the thing: you're starting to see, and this was the one thing with CAT system that I said you guys are going to start seeing is you're seeing a lot of people get a lot more jail time. If you haven't noticed, you guys notice how? I mean, little Andrew left now had to sell his mansion. I had to make fun of him on that. Pretty sure I posted that here. Hold on, let me look here. He had the left. I guess mansion here was a $60 million mansion. And that's the thing, dude. These guys, that's exactly what we're gonna have to do. Here you go. All right, Andrew. Trust that Andrew left sells his mansion there for $16 million. So this is what I was telling you guys they're gonna end up having to do. Fuck these guys. They're going to. A lot of people ask how we can win without a civil war. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm going to teach you guys history lesson. We're gonna learn a lot today, and when you learn it this way, the answer has always been right in front of you. I've told you it a lot, and we're going to break down the Federal Reserve, why it was created, a whole bunch of fun stuff here today. But like I said, guys, this stuff is going to eventually come up here and catch up to them. How are they going to pay for all this stuff? They're going to have to sell their mansions, their yachts, their private islands, all their good stuff that they have here. So a day of reckoning will be coming here. So let's go into this quick here. As always, we got to start off with AMC. AMC here, so this does not include Tuesday, so I'm guessing Tuesday will make around 16 million. It usually makes a little more than Monday because you got the cheaper tickets there. So I'm guessing we'll be at 2 billion, 6 million, right around there. I have us still finishing the month with about 2.115. Basically right where we want to be. Now, when it comes to September, we got some good news also as well here. So Transformers 1 coming into September. They're doing a partnership with Barco. And Barco is going to do pure HDR. And Transformers is going to be shown in true HDR in just a couple cinemas here. It's just going to be a test run, but the fact that they're doing it with AMC shows we're going to do this in future partnerships. And this is one of the reasons why he wanted one of those laser projectors. Now, if you guys want to look up this HDR a little bit more here, I mean, here's their website. I'll go and post this for you guys. So, I mean, this movie's going to look insane. It's only going to be in a couple theaters here, though. Let me pull it up. I think it's only like... Yeah, it's only in a couple locations here to start it off. But, again, they chose AMC. They're doing it with the Regal as well. But, like I said, this is going to be those new laser projectors. So, this is going to actually start looking... Here you go. HDR by laser projectors. This is going to start... These movies are going to look insane. And that's the one thing I always didn't like about the Transformers movies is when they got into the fight scenes, it got a little blurry. You shouldn't have that problem at all with this. So, great news for AMC. And, like I said, in a couple months here, hopefully we start getting more movies doing this as well. So... good news for AMC, but let's go into September. So I still believe there's a chance we can finish with 2.8. A lot of people want to know how we get there. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the movie releases here. So again, I expect us to be at about 2 billion, 6 million. The upcoming movies you have coming out, Beetlejuice 2 and Transformers 1. If you guys haven't looked at this Speak No Evil trailer, dude, it looks sick. I'll just Google it quick here. Whoop. There you go. I posted it earlier too. Check this trailer out. I'm going to post it in the chat here. This trailer, dude, this movie looks super, super good. I think this is going to do... I didn't expect it to, to do very well, but then I'm getting a lot more numbers than they expected to be about 20 million opening. So this movie right here, I expect to get about 55, 60 million maybe, if it really gets word of mouth. That's sweet. That's a nice little add-on there. You also have Megaopolis. Megaopolis is so hard to predict. I'll get back into that. But Beetlejuice 2. Beetlejuice 2 looks like it's going to kill it. You could get 170 million domestic out of that. If you get 175 million out of that. Transformers 1, you get 175 million out of that. You're already at 350 million. If you add that Speak No Evil at a 55 to 60, you're at about 410. This Wild Robot movie, I'm telling you guys, it's only got 5 days, but I expect that Wild Robot movie to make at least 80 million in those 5 days. This Wild Robot movie is going to be insane. Q4 is going to be loving that it gets that movie. But again, I expect around 60 to 80 million in those 5 days. Honestly, that movie should destroy it. You also have the Killers games. They expect that to do about 25, 30 million for the month. But then you also add, Deadpool, all the movies that are currently out there. God, what's that Blake Lively movie? It Ends With Us, Blink Twice, Alien. So you're still going to have that spillover. If you look at the spillover for, Deadpool, It Ends With Us, if you think they could still do about 60 million through all of next month, you can get to that number. Aliens, if it still adds about 25, you're feeling really good. You can actually hit that 700 million mark. And now you're looking over 2.8 billion. And we're feeling good. We're talking profits. I have us profiting about 86 million to about 92. And like I said, that's a sick quarter if we profit around that. And then we pay, like I said, we keep doing, and Q4, expect the same thing. Q4, I expect right around the same thing. If you guys look at the box office for Q4, it's a lot of these children's movies which blow up, as you guys can see with Inside Out 2. They're going to explode. Q4, I expect around the same numbers as we have around here for Q3 profits. And what I expect us to do with those profits, put away about 50 million each quarter, take that 46, pay off a discount on that last 103 million on the 2026 debt, refinance the remaining 800 million. And by doing that, if you guys remember in the refinance news, we had up to 464 million in exchangeable notes, but we were currently only at 414. So they had an additional 50 million that they could put down on other debt if they wanted to. But we're going to have these 2 profitable quarters, so I don't believe we're ever going to get to that 464 million in exchangeable notes. I believe they're going to stay at about 414 million. I don't see AMC using that 50 million to refinance on another debt. It doesn't make sense. You would only use that 50 million if you didn't make enough profits in Q3 and Q4 to pay off that debt. So again, that's more great news for AMC. That could save us 50 million in exchangeable notes, and that's quite a bit of shares, especially 6, 7, 8 million shares, so that they could exchange worth. So again, I'm feeling good on that. So again, nothing but great news on AMC. Looking at the competitors, so Dade always posts this about. I like following him. He posts a lot of good information, but he posts a lot of times about Netflix insiders, and I always want to give him credit here. So the CEO, the CLO, another insider sold. They sold it all the way down to 0 shares. If you guys pull up insider sells for Netflix, again, this just came up. Leslie just sold another 1,372 shares. She now owns 0 shares. So Leslie, the director at Netflix, sold her entire positioning. The CEO, the reason I wanted to pull this up is this was actually interested. So the CEO here, he pulled, little Peter here, I pulled that up. I just want to make sure he got his credit here. So the CEO actually filed, hey, I'm gonna sell ahead of time. He sold 25% of his shares. He filed a thing so he didn't get marked for market manipulation. And usually when this happens and he sells off, it's because they truly know something, but no, I covered my ass. And when you see the rest of the insiders all selling off, again, they know something's going on over at Netflix. If you guys come look down here, I wanted to show everybody this because everybody continuously goes crazy when insiders sell. Where the hell was it? Hold on. Okay, here you go. The insider transaction history for Netflix shows a trend of insiders selling more than buying. In the past year, there have been 48 insider sells and no buys. Nobody buys at all. This could be indication of insiders' perspective on the stock's evaluation and future performance. So again, they know the top is coming in. When the CEO starts selling off, everyone's going down. Like I said, Netflix is just becoming shit. It's the same crap over and over. The CAT system isn't doing shit. The CAT system has been putting people in jail so far. You're not getting, hey, here's just a fine. It's now, here's a fine and criminal charges. That's what the CAT system's doing. Did it cause the morass? No, because again, the problem is you need the SEC to enact on it. So the CAT system is now giving them proof to not just put these guys, hey, here's a little fine. You don't admit any wrongdoing. You guys have noticed that acceptance waivers and consents are going down. That's what you want to see. The CAT system now basically gets them away from the acceptance, waiver, and consent. They can prove guilt, so they don't need them. Hey, we don't need to go through your system. We can now just prove you're guilty. And guess what? Now you're getting criminal charges. Look at little Andrew left. So the CAT system is doing something. It's just not doing what we want it to do. It's not preventing. See, that's the thing people thought it was going to do. I told you right away, it wasn't going to prevent fraud. It's just going to be, hey, you prevented fraud. You've now been flagged. They now have the proof. And now it takes them seconds instead of months to be able to open court cases, to be able to open cases on these people. They can do it quicker, less expensive. It should be happening more frequently. And again, they should be doing more criminal charges, which they are. So the CAT system, you need the SCC. You gave them the tools, but are they going to fucking use them? But again, so when you go over to this, again, you have Beetlejuice, Transformers, Wild Robot coming out. We're feeling good. Back to this. Back to Netflix. There was like 46 insiders selling, none buying. Where are we at here? So, done with all that stuff for now. I want to get into a whole bunch of stuff here quick. I'm just going to get rid of all this stuff. All right. So, we're going to talk about banks. We're going to talk about the 99%, how do you win, Civil War, the Federal Reserve, the creation of the Federal Reserve. We're going to talk about 1907. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff here real quick. And the answer right there, like I said, the answer is, it's so simple. Because, Thomas Jefferson, one of the quotes I always posted since the entire time I've ever had my YouTube. One of his quotes he talked about is he believes banks, the banking system, the banks are stronger than any standing army. And when you sit there and you think about that, there's a couple ways to interpret it. There's a way to interpret it on their side, and then there's a way to interpret it on our side. Now, here's the thing. The 99% can use that logic to win, to destroy the faulty system easily. If all the 99%, like I said, it's very simple. Before we get into all that, let's get into some stuff here. Wells Fargo accused of overcharging tens of thousands of customers, often offering illusionary and wholly inadequate compensation for damages. So what was going on here is you had Wells Fargo, they had an error. They didn't tell anybody about this error. And they were forever overcharging their customers, okay? Wells Fargo failed to be transparent after realizing they had an error, and they were overcharging people for who knows how long. Now, none of these people got, hey, this is how long you were overcharged, this is the amount we took, this is the amount extra, this is how long it went on for, here's your receipt, blah, blah, blah. None of them got anything. They just got a check. They got a small check for blah, 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 here's the thing, and we had an error, okay? Wells Fargo had attempted to migrate its liabilities to an adequate as left consumers, blah, blah, hold on. Where was it? Hold on. Where the hell's the check part? Here you go. It sends them a cashier's check to affected customers to settle damages without telling them what happened. So they don't know what happened. They don't know when it happened. They don't know how long it happened. They just got a check, and it's Wells Fargo supposed to be like, hey, take our word for it. This is how long it went on for. This is it. So they got this small check. They won't talk to anybody about what happened. They're not giving them any information. Like I said, this is what I'm saying. These guys, these banks, they're fucking garbage, dude. They are such a scam. The banking system is a scam, but it's our most powerful tool. It is not the citizens, it's the ants. How do the ants defeat the grasshoppers? Without civil war. I'm going to show you how to defeat the grasshoppers without a single bloodshed. Without anybody, without red or blue. You don't need politicians. You don't need the SEC. You don't need any regulators. You don't need cops. You don't need nothing. You don't need anything but each other. And it's the easiest thing in the world. So, just so you guys know, this is how fucked up the SEC is. This is called market manipulation. This is fraud. This is collusion. This is manipulation. This is illegal. So before the data came out that there's going to be 818,000 job cuts, there was a 30-minute delay. Okay, so from 10 to 10:30, the job, they were supposed to come out at 10. It came out at 10:30. Well, a whole bunch of banks found out that they could call up. They could call up and get the data early. So after a whole bunch of people, after a couple banks, it said 3 banks started to, they found out they could call up. Word got out after the 3 banks called up, and of course, because they told everybody, they got to go spread their thing. They're gonna make a killing, so they got to tell everyone. So word starts getting out. So after that, word starts spreading across Wall Street. Suddenly, all these Wall Street people got the numbers. So then it got delayed longer and longer and longer until everybody basically was able to figure these numbers out. So suddenly, the numbers came out at 10:30 after they all made their bets because they have access to data no one else had. Good job. It showed payrolls would likely be revised down 818,000 for the 12 months through March, the steepest markdown in job numbers since 2009. Stocks initially jumped and bonds gained because guess what? They thought that they were going to have a rate cut because interest rates low, you're having the job numbers down. This is complete manipulation. If this is public information, again, if these guys gave a fuck and this is public information, there you go. I mean, it's common knowledge now. These guys had access to information. Answer inquiries from firms like JP Morgan Chase and BlackRock. So, I mean, they're notorious for giving these guys shit ahead of time. And like I said, it continuously, you can read this article. They do this all the time. They give these guys countless heads up. And they continuously delay numbers. And then they give these guys the numbers. And this will show you time and time again. So, this is really what I wanted to get into. Then we'll get into the CAT system and everything, whatever you guys want to answer. But I have a whole bunch of other stuff to get into here quick. Okay, let's talk about the Federal Reserve. How does the 99% win? It's so easy. You don't need an army. You can be stronger than an army. Thomas Jefferson said it. Like I said, he said it best. And the banking system is stronger than any standing army. They can bring any nation to its knees. If you don't believe me, let me show you something quick. And then we'll get into the Federal Reserve. If you don't believe me, look at what the banking system has done to you. It has enslaved you. It has destroyed the dollar. Since the Federal Reserve has been created, watch the value of the dollar. We're going to get into the Federal Reserve. I'm going to break it down so much for you. You're going to go, what in the fuck? Okay. This is basically your price chart, your inflation chart, your cost chart for everything. Going up. Okay. So, because they continuously destroy the dollar. They print, bail the banks out, blah, blah, blah. People sit there and they say, whose fault is it? Who's doing this? Well, the Fed, why do they keep bailing them out? What's their fucking problem? Why are they choosing the citizens? Or why are they choosing the banks over the citizens? At what point are they ever going to choose the citizens? And what the blah, blah, blah. And, I'm going to answer all of that. And we're all going to learn so easily how to fucking devastate them. Because it's, like I said, it's so easy. So since the Federal Reserve was created, inflation has gone nothing but skyrocket. Look at the value of your dollar. Look how far your dollar goes. Look at your purchasing power of a dollar. Look at the purchasing power of a dollar. It has done nothing but fucking plummet and plummet and plummet and print and plummet and print and plummet. And now it's just stagnant, just fucking trash. See, we'll get back to this, but we'll get back into the Federal Reserve quick now. We'll get back into what I actually want to get into here. So, American history lesson quick. Why was the Federal Reserve created? What happened? And how did the corruption start? There was the Panic of 1907. Okay? So, if you guys look up what happened in 1907, it was a simple thing. It was a bank run. Okay? It was the panic of the Knickerbocker, the Knickerbocker crisis, the banker Knickerbocker crisis. It was the other thing they called it. It was just a small amount of bank runs, okay? Now, what happened is the banking system back then was just as corrupted as it is now. And these banks, if you guys come down, and this is why I stress this all the time, the second that COVID went into play and their reserve requirements went to zero, that was the end of the banking system as we know it. That was the end of it until they sat there, until they prep it up and do whatever they can do to hold it and fudge the numbers, and the feds can do X and Y, and for it to come back, that was its chance to come back. It was over. There's zero chance of saving this system. It's gotta crash. It has to fucking crash. It is too corrupt. The numbers are too great. The printing that needs to be fixed, nobody's caring to fix it. Like, it is beyond saving. It is. It truly fucking is. Sad to say. Well, if you guys come down here and look at what happened back in 1907. So back then, the banks only needed to have, as you guys can see, their cash reserves, as it says here. As a result, the banks had a low percentage of cash reserves relative to deposits. Their reserves were around 5%, okay, compared to 25% for national banks. People found this out. People found out that their money might not be okay, and they ran. They pulled out. The banks didn't have enough to pay people. The banks collapsed, and the whole system, everything came into question. Okay? So now there's panic. People are losing faith in the system because they realize how fragile it is, and they realize the truth about banks. Banks are a scam, and they don't have the money the second you put it in. It is gone. They need to have 5% of their reserves. Your money's not important to get to that 5%. They need to have 10 rich guys, 13 rich guys, 15 rich guys, and they're okay. They don't care about your money. Your money's gone. So now you have people losing faith in the system. Okay? Who comes into play here? Who walks in? Who other than the biggest fucking scam con in the world? JP Morgan. So JP Morgan gets 11 fucking bankers, private bankers all ready to go, and they go up and they go out and they bail this out, they bail in, they bail them out, blah, blah, blah. They end up funding what ends up becoming, the startup for the Federal Reserve, a private institution that would be in charge of, the monetary system, and they would protect the banks, and, they would bring back faith in the system. The Federal Reserve was pretty much created to bring back, this is what they told you. Oh, it's to bring back faith in the system for when things like this happen. We can, everybody will be okay. It's a backup system. It's a blah, blah, blah. And here we go. So JP Morgan, like I said, he organized a group of bank leaders to provide liquidity and restore public confidence in the financial system. This directed the financial support to make institutions and create the funds to stop the panic. And in return, he got a whole bunch of bonds, which later on were worth a ton, so he made a fuck ton of money, of course, okay? Of course he did. So, and in return, he also got the Federal Reserve built. Now, they were there to stop any crisis, okay? They were there to, the roles of the Federal Reserve were to provide elastic currency that could expand or contract based on economic conditions, thus preventing bank runs and financial panics. Sound familiar? So they can make fucking repos, they could print, they could come up with bank lending programs. Do you see where I'm getting at? everybody fucking hates the Federal Reserve. Well, the Federal Reserve is there to print and back out these criminal fucking banks when they are over leveraged. That's literally what it's fucking created for. It's a fucking joke. You have banks knowing that they have this backstop, so they don't give a shit, and they're going to overexpand and over leverage and steal, and that's what they're doing, and that's what they have done for fucking ever, to the point where you're now having trillions. Well, the Federal Reserve, they're supposed to act as lenders of last resort to prevent bank failures. Well, that's why whenever they talk to Powell, he goes like, "Oh, I expect bank failures next." He's talking about this year for the mid-level banks and blah, blah, blah. So basically, they're there to supervise and regulate banking institutions to ensure the safety and soundness of the financial system. And they're there to basically, like I said, contrast or do what needs to be done to ensure the safety of the banks. That's what they're there for. So what they're there for is the whole system, this is how it's built. This is how the entire system's built. You go to work, you pay your fucking taxes, and you put it in a bank. That bank takes your money. They take 95% of it. Well, they take 100% of it because they only need 15 people. They take that money, they go deposit it, they make stupid bets, they make fucking wagers and derivatives, then they go do this, they steal, they short this, that, blah, blah. You know what they do. They do criminal shit with it. And then in return, they give you 0.01%, and then when you need to go pull your money out, it's not going to be there. Or if you got to write down why you're taking it out and blah, all the good stuff. So, too big to fail needs to fail. Exactly. So the system itself is a fucking joke. So, like I said, so basically he ended up, orchestrating a private, so JP Morgan orchestrated a private sector response. He convinced lending financiers at his mansion. So he got all these bankers together at his mansion, essentially acting as an unofficial central bank to provide liquidity to the market, which helped stabilize the financial system. This even underscored the need for a formal central bank, as it was clear that relying on private individuals like JP Morgan was not sustainable or desirable, or a desirable way to manage financial crises. But here we fucking are. They got their way because, again, when they create the laws and all of us, they keep you out of the loop. They want you uneducated, and when they have the sheeple uneducated and they have the sheeple fighting about the small things, feeling powerless, because you guys, I'm telling you right now, if every single one of you took the time to do this, the United States could collapse, and the citizens would win the war on corruption without a single fucking bloodshed. None. So again, you look back at history and what happened. So again, they created this. So now they have backstops in case when people do bank runs, here it is. If too many banks will fail, here it is. Well, there's your answer as well. It's very simple. Use the system against them. Okay. The Federal Reserve was created to, listen to me. The Federal Reserve, after this crisis, was created to restore confidence in the system, the banking system. That is what it's there for. It's there for them to have a backstop. That's it. Okay? It's their backstop. So what happens when everyone loses confidence in the system anyways? What happens when we say, I don't believe the Federal Reserve is the answer and it's what's fixing the system? As a matter of fact, according to data and numbers, according to this, the Federal Reserve is actually the problem and the cancer of the system by continuously bailing out the banks, as you can see, causing an inflationary period, enslaving the current generation, and stealing and enslaving all of our children and their children. Because when they take over, it's going to be even worse. So you see the value of the dollar. You see what the Federal Reserve. You're supposed to instill confidence in the dollar, but you're showing me the dollars ever since you've been established. The dollar's value, purchasing power, has gone nothing but lower. You have done nothing but destroy the system within when you're supposed to be the one to instill confidence. Well, we no longer have confidence in your system. Okay. So what do? Again, guys, I've told you this forever. How do you stop them? It's very simple. Everyone you know, guys, I've said this forever. Get the fuck out of every one of these ISDA banks. Go talk to your family. Go explain to them what I just told you. Show them what these banks do. Show them. Get them the fuck out. Annoy them. Get them the fuck out. Because think about this. Listen to me. Listen how easy this is. And I can show you. I can show you and prove to you this would work. Here. Let's say politicians and them don't want to do what you want to do. And you say, all right, well, then that's fine. All of these ISDA banks have what? All the ISDA banks have what? Rich people. They have rich people, and they have me and you. Okay? They have rich people, and there isn't middle class anymore. So they have rich people, and they have lower class. Okay? What do credit unions have? What does a credit union have? Well, I can tell you one thing a credit union does not have. They don't have super rich people. There's not multi-millionaires, 100 millionaires, 200 millionaires. They're not in credit fucking unions, I can tell you that much. So, you don't have these giant percentiles. You can go into each individual bank's records. You can pull up their financial statements, and you can look at the percentage that they have of insured deposits. Look at the difference between credit unions, and then go look at the difference between these ISDA banks. So again, they don't have these super rich people, okay? So you have middle class, you have middle upper, you have middle upper class, and you have lower class, okay? All of these people are under a different insurance. Over here, you have FDIC. Here you have NCUA, okay? National Credit Union Association. You have completely different insurance, okay? So, these people over here don't give a fuck if the FDIC goes broke. Who gives a fuck? Doesn't affect me. I don't give a shit. I could give a fuck less, okay? Let's say everybody over here, let's say everybody in this category in the lower class came over to here, okay? Well, that means the percentage of insured deposits goes up, okay? So the percentage of insured deposit goes up, which means risk of people running goes down. And now, for richer people, since there's more deposits now coming in, they have more leeway so they're not going to go down. So if you have a deposit that's like, over the 250 marker, guess what? It has a way less chance of them going down than it is the bank. You're not going to run away. Why would you? You would need like 50% of people that are insured to go, you know what, there's no chance of me losing my money, but fuck it, I'm going to run anyways. It makes no sense. So, you have everybody get out of these banks. You have them all go into credit unions. Now, you have a system used against it, okay? So now what you have is lower, middle, upper middle, on one side, on a different insurance, and now what you have is fucking FDIC and the rich on the other side. Okay? So now the system is split. Okay? Well, if all of a sudden we start fucking pulling out, and you get these bank runs to a point where the Federal Reserve cannot control it, there's the faith lost in the system. People can't lose faith in the system if they don't understand how the system operates. This is how it operates. Look at the Federal Reserve was created in Congress to stabilize the American banking system and create a monetary system that could respond to banking stresses. This was an act written in response to the 1907 panic, which led to bank runs that threatened to drive banks out of business. And every single time that there's been threats to drive banks out of businesses, The Federal Reserve has kicked in, printed billions and trillions of dollars, given it to criminals, and destroyed the dollar, and destroyed the confidence in the dollar. And by doing this, what have they also done? They have destroyed the demand for the dollar as well. As you guys can see, when the dollar starts losing its purchasing power, when on top of that, if there's expected rate cuts, demand for the dollar drops. So, again, you're hurting yourself. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Well, here we go. Let's go back to what we're talking about. So again, if everybody starts pulling out of these, and now all of a sudden there's no risk on the credit unions, there's no risk on bank runs where the credit unions are, guess who's over leveraged? All the ISDA banks. They're all over leveraged. Why? I told you. They have a 0% reserve requirement. Back in 1907, here's proof right here. Back in 1907, there was a 5% requirement. Now there's a 0% requirement. They don't have it. There's none. They don't have a requirement. They don't have your money. So when enough pull out to not back it, now there's stress. Maybe one or two rich guys go, fuck this, and then they run to another one. Hey, just like they did with Silicon Valley. It just takes a word of mouth. There's more proof again. Look at history. Silicon Valley, it took 5 people? It took 5 people or 11 people. It took 5 to 11 people, I can't remember what the number was, to pull out a Silicon Valley bank, and the bank went under. We're more powerful than we think. You can take the system down within by understanding how it's built and just using the system against itself. And then guess what? Now when the banks that are over on the ISDA side that are FDIC go under, guess what? This is how you win. Is the banks start going down? Guess what? They're on this side. Who does it affect? The rich people. Do we give a fuck? No. Our money's safe. We don't care. Go fuck yourselves. All of you guys are going to have to lose your mansions like we did. Guess what? How many people lost all their shit in the financial crises before? How many of your family members that lost how much back then? It's time for them to lose it. And it's that simple. It's that simple. You divide the system against itself. You insure all the people on one side. You put the ants over here. The ants have their own fucking insurance. Just like in 1907. It will fucking trigger bank runs, and they're fucked. It can only back so many because guess what? It's already stretched so thin because they're already backed on all those other things. This has always been the answer, you guys. The Federal Reserve is literally a fucking scam. They're there to fucking literally bail out criminals, period. They're there to print as much as the criminals need. They're there to make as many lending programs as the criminals need. They're there to give them repos. They're there to give them whatever the fuck that they can come up with that will temporarily give them enough liquidity to keep faith in the system, because the system is so fucking fragile that if there's a whole bunch of bank runs, that will be the end of the system. It's that simple. You don't have to shed a fucking bullet. You don't have to overrun the Capitol. You don't have to vote in certain politicians. You don't have to do any of that shit. You just need to get to a credit union. You just need to get everyone in your family, sit them fucking down and say, hey, this is a bigger deal than you voting. It is. It is. If every single citizen got out of ISDA banks, went to a credit union, that would have the biggest effect, more effect than any politician, more than anybody you voted could do, more than any fucking person you think that's not getting paid off, because I'll show you right now. You name a politician in the chat, I'll go to the fucking site, and we'll go ahead and we'll check out how many donations they have, because they all are getting paid to be criminals. They're all getting paid to look the other way. So the second everyone loses faith in the system, again, like Thomas Jefferson said, that's stronger than any army we can create. Because guess what? The United States Army doesn't function if there's no finances behind it. If the system that's behind it is collapsed. Like I said, the shit is beyond insanity, but when you look at it, when you understand what was created, why it's there, what's going on, you can look at it, the big picture, and say, all right, we just need to band together. And I've told you that's been the solution forever, but what do? Just like with politicians. Well, I like GameStop. I don't care. I like Haas. I don't care. I like AMC. I don't give a fuck. You're fighting the same fucking billionaire named Ken fucking Criminal Griffin. You're fighting the same fucking billionaire or I shouldn't even say 100 millionaire. You're fighting the same millionaire and Doug Criminal Sifu. You're fighting the same fucking Vlad, all of them, all those criminals. Fucking Jamie Dimon. What more does he need to do? Talk about a terrorist. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. You funded Jeffrey Epstein's island and nothing happened to you? 12 of your executives visited his island and nothing happened to them? Joe Staley's the only one you went after? What are we doing here? But like I said, we have more power than we think. Because these guys have had zero reserve for 3 years. Can you imagine how much they're over leveraged, how much they owe, and what they really don't have? The system is numbers. It's fake numbers in a computer. As long as you deposit a check and go there, and the sheep will keep doing what they're done, and as long as they keep funneling it into their retirements, which are being stolen through pension funds, putting into Social Security, which is being stolen from. You see what I mean? As long as the ants keep giving them all their ways to always be billionaires, 100 millionaires, fucking shit nobody's ever heard of because he did what? Well, I was in Wall Street doing what? What good did you cause? You have $100 million. What good did you do? What contribution to the world did you do that you needed that much or created that much wealth? I shorted the hell out of a company. I did some market manipulation with some buddies. So you were a criminal, and there's only so much money to go around. So when somebody steals $100 million, that affects every one of us quite a bit. And now when 1,000 of them and 1 million of them are now doing it, like I said, blue collar, white collar crime, there should be no different. It should just be crime, period. It's a fucking joke that they're differently trialed. There's different rules for each one. There's different, you can do an acceptance waiver and consent because this is a white collar crime. What the fuck? So what's the blue collar term? What's my get out of jail free and just admit, or just, hey, let's just stop doing it. I won't do it again. Give me a $5 fine for the fucking candy bar I stole. Well, where is that? There is none of that for us. Like I said, it's a fucking joke, dude. The whole system's a joke. But again, this is how easy the system is fucking gone. And all these guys are there to do the repos. They go, well, there's a reverse repo. As long as the ants don't understand the repo, they won't understand that it's just a system for us to keep printing them money that from the people stealing from them that they're literally putting the fucking deposits in, which is their bloodline. Like I said, you don't need an army. You don't need a politician. You don't need to vote. You don't need Trump. You don't need Harris. You don't need any of these pieces of shit. You just fucking need each other. That's it. You just need each other to listen. Get over your petty shit. Get over who fucking cares what stock you're in. Who cares? Who gives a fuck? Does it fucking matter? Does me and this guy holding GameStop, whether I sell all my shit and go, let's say I sell everything I have and I jump in your stock and everyone all jumps in the same stock. Is that's the way we have to come together? I mean, like, come on. Does that mean we're getting stolen from any differently? Does it mean that we're getting stolen from any differently? If I'm holding GameStop, or if I'm holding AMC, or if I'm in your bank, or if I'm in my bank? It's just like people that complain about what team you like. Who cares? What politician you like? Who gives a fuck? People that don't talk to people what politician they don't like. Who cares? They're all corrupt. They don't give a fuck. I don't understand how people can't see these guys don't give a shit. If you don't understand they don't care about you, look at this chart. When you had blue in, when you had red in for the last 20 fucking years, it doesn't matter. Look at your life got harder. Whether there was a Democrat, whether there was a Republican, look at your life got more expensive while the rich got richer. Your life got more expensive while the rich got richer. The money you did have, buying power went down. Whether it was a Democrat or Republican, your life got harder. In the end of the day, it always gets harder for us and never for them. Because they have enough power and influence, and they know all they need to do is just throw a fucking couple little shiny keys in front of you, and everyone will lose focus. When it's that simple. Again, you don't, and then they make you think, well, it's impossible. How are we ever gonna get an army or enough people or protest? That's how you do it. That's how you protest. That's how you raise an army. You just get everyone out of the fucking banks. That is more powerful than anything you could do. Is more powerful than getting 1 million people. Getting 20 million, 30 million people in front of Washington, you might get hurt for a second. But if you pull 30 million people out of the banking system, the damage it would do, you'll be heard. There'll be changes, and the system itself might literally implode upon itself. It's rich versus poor. It's not me versus you. It's not AMC versus GameStop versus... Who cares? If you don't like me because my name has AMC in front of it, you're a child. That's so petty, it's stupid. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? You don't like me because of how I talk? Fine, that's one thing. But at least listen to the information. At least learn what's happening in your life, because it doesn't affect you. It affects your kids. It affects your husband, your wife, your entire family, your parents. And if you don't believe me, I'll go ahead and show you some more stuff here quick. So not only is the demand for the dollar falling, because this represents a couple things. Either people expect rate cuts, either other economies are growing, demand for them, their dollar, their currency is getting, a little stronger. So the gap is weakening a little bit. People see, the economy, financial stress in the economy. Maybe they see if rate cuts are coming. It's for a sign of weakness, because that's the thing. Rate cuts are one thing, but if you're cutting rates, you're cutting rates for good reasons, that's one thing. But if you're cutting rates because of financial stress, because of, hey, the economy's so fucked, we need to try and do this. But guess what? When you cut rates, you make the economy worse. Why? Because guess what happens? Now you have people with more access to capital, which means you're going to have more demand across the board, which means inflation's going to skyrocket. Once again, costs are going to go up, and here you go. This chart's going to skyrocket. If they cut rates again, this chart will do a jump like this. It will do a jump like it did from here to here. Once again, it will do a fucking massive spike. And you guys will inherit hyperinflation, and nobody's going to be doing shit. We will be broker than fuck. Charles, thank you. I appreciate that. But this is the thing. When you look at how this is, it has to crash at some point. Because if you look at all of history and everything with where they're at, with the concentration, with how the entire economy is going. Look at this. So first of all, the top 10 stock now reflect 38% of the S&P 500 market cap, near all-time high of 39% in June. So it almost represents 40% of the S&P 500, 10 fucking stocks. So everything is balancing on this. So all these guys are funneling into this. All their collateral goes into this. Everything is relying on these top 10 fucking stocks. They're all relying on nvidia. Nvidia needs to fucking every year blow it out the water. nvidia always needs to destroy earnings, and nvidia can never stop. The second it stops, the fun stops. Everything goes down. The economy will fucking go collapsing with it. It has happened all the time. You now have, to put this into perspective, you used to have, in 2020, it only accounted for 25% of this. This is now 12% higher than it was in the 2000 .com level bubble. Like I said, just going to take that one fucking stock to go down even a hard amount, and it's like, all right, everyone's collateral, everything. It's like that. It's such a joke. And the thing I've told you about nvidia, and it's funny because I've showed you a ton of these shell companies over the last year. We've pulled them up. We've looked them up on fucking MapQuest. I mean, I've showed you everything about them, articles. I showed you all the shell companies, everything. This is one of NVIDIA's elite partners. This is one of the people that they say, oh my god, we're fucking generating so much profit from the shell company that they made, and then they made a contract with, which I showed you was a contract which was misleading investors. Look at this place. They're telling people this fucking piece of shit, like, I don't even know what this is. This thing right here, which is, they're saying this is the most elite partner they have. No, it's not. This is like a fucking apartment building. This looks like an apartment building type thing. Garbage. It's just fucking trash, dude. They're shell corporations. They're fucking fake addresses. It's just a gong show, dude. Here you go. Dario. I've had Dario on here before. I mean, I've been showing a whole bunch of these things. I've been breaking down CoreWeave for everybody. He also likes to post a ton of these things. So these are a ton of these people's. You can see, read about them, read about their financials. He breaks down the Ponzi scheme. He's got it all in one place here. Let me go ahead and post this for you guys so you guys can see. Like I said, look at this. All of these guys, you got Taiwan, you got everyone in Russia, you got the shell companies right here. Here's your entire, I mean, this isn't all of them. There's a ton more. They have like 50. But here are some, so you guys can look at them and check them out and be like, yeah, okay, clearly these are fucking not legit. So, as you guys can see, imagine the entire stock market depending on one stock. Everything's riding right now in NVIDIA's earnings, and the videos, like I said, it's just a fucking Ponzi scheme, dude. It's an unbelievable joke. So, Warren Buffett sells more Bank of America stock shares. He's now reaping in another $982 million worth. So he sold 13%. So Berkshire Hathaway trimmed 13% of its stock there, generating $5.4 billion in proceeds. So Buffett's starting to see it. He's stocking up cash, tons of cash. Now, this is one thing I wanted to show everybody because, again, this is proof that the government needs to go. This shit needs to go, and it's just a fucking gong show over here. They don't give a shit about you. They care about illegals more than us at this point. It's fucking a joke. So, California Senate passes 0 down, 0 payment home loans for illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants. Now, I know people are going to go, immigrants, blah, blah. No. We're talking undocumented, not in the country legally, aliens. Now I'm going to show you, they found out a way to fraud your system already too. Now, one of the things I want to show you guys here is, so California state passed a continuous bill to allow for undocumented immigrants to use the state's 0 down, 0 interest home loan program, despite national backlash following coverage of the bill's looming passage. So 23 votes for and 11 votes against. But I don't care about any of this crap here. Here you go. Now, this is where I'm going to go and tell you what it is, and I'm going to tell you how they fraud the system. So, California Dream for All Shared Appreciation Loan Program allows applicants to secure loans of up to $150,000 or 20% of the home's purchase price, or about what a typical down payment is. Now listen to this. With 0 down payment on this state loan, and listen to this, and no payments. So they don't make payments. There's no payments. There's no loan. Okay? There's no payments. They don't have to pay this back through. I'm going to show you how they scam this too. So there's a way they can scam this now to where they put it in a trust. And if you guys know trust, there's scams, there's rules, there's fucking all sorts of bullshit they can get away with trust. So there's ways now that they can put it into a trust name and get away with even paying this loan ever back. It's a fucking gong show. But here we go. Let's get back into this. So, blah, blah, blah. So what this says, here we go. So in exchange, the state receives the original loan amount, okay? So they don't have, so as long as they own this house, they don't make payments, okay? So if up to on this particular loan. So let's say I have like a $300,000 fucking loan. I could take $150,000 out, pay it down on pay it off on my fucking house, and now I really only and then get $150,000 from the bank, and now I only need to pay my house payment on that $150,000 remaining, which is only going to be like $800. Gong show. What a scam and what a fucking joke. So that's what they're going to do, okay? So now that $150,000, let's say I lived there for 20 years, I don't have to worry about fucking paying that shit back. I'm not even paying nothing on it, okay? But now listen. So, in exchange, the state receives the original loan amount plus 20% of the appreciated gain when the home is refinanced, sold, or transferred. But if it's not fucking sold, financed, or transferred, guess what? You're not paying that shit back. What they do now, so what they're doing is they set it up in a family trust. So when one person dies, it just goes into the other person's name in the trust. It goes into the trust. So then the trust owns it. So it doesn't technically transfer owners. So now when it's in the trust, let's say dad got it in the family trust, dad passes away. Well, now the trust still owns it. Now whoever takes over the the family trust as it goes down, that's who will technically be the owner of the house. So it's a gong show here that they can put these in these fucking trusts. Now watch this. I want you to understand how fucked up this is. So they're giving illegal immigrants houses. Now listen to this fucking right here. Listen to this part. This is insanity. In the last fiscal year, the state allocated $255 million for the program. Okay? It went to 1,700 people. So they gave out $1,700 to illegal immigrants for them to get homes. Why none of you can get a fucking home loan? 1,700 lucky winners. And listen to this. The fucking program's down to zero. They spent it all on these people, and they want more. They want more money. They're trying to figure out how to fund it. They need more. So while all of us are losing homes, rates, everything's so high to where, people we're not getting them. They're giving them to fucking illegal immigrants, not immigrants. Again, documented immigrants is one thing. If you came here, you did the process, and you're here, I don't give a fuck if they help you out. Perfect, good. I support immigration. Good. Bring the culture over. But people that are fucking jumping the fences on the wall they didn't want to build are, raping people, doing all that stuff. No, listen to how fucked up this is. This is what they say to you, and this is how they justify it. Oh, guys, don't worry, though. Don't worry. Part of the program is they have to have a job and they have to pay taxes. Oh, cool. Perfect. Oh, that makes it all better. As long as they're working and pay taxes, they can be part of the program. Let me ask you a question. Isn't there a agency out there called ICE that goes after people that are illegal that are working? How can they? Well, don't worry. Part of it is they have to have a job and pay taxes. What the fuck? How can they have a job? Isn't that illegal for them to have a job? So it's illegal for them to have a job. It's illegal for them to be here, but you give them both. And then you give them a house. Now listen to this. The rainy day fund, the funds ran out in 11 days. It took 11 days for 1,700 people to get $255 million for houses. And not one citizen was one of them. 255, listen to this. I want you to listen to this. $255 million, wasn't that more than what they gave the people in Maui? I'm serious. Wasn't that more than what they gave the people in Maui, now that I think about it? They got like $500 a family, not a household, not a person, a household. $255 million for illegal immigrants. I have to check. How much did we give Maui? What was it, Maui, for relief? It was like, listen to this. We gave Maui $330 million. We gave Maui $330 million. $330 million. And we gave illegal immigrants $225. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? And then we gave Ukraine $7,000 billion. What are we doing? Was it 700? I think it's 500. Let's check. All right. Yeah. All right. So yeah, so about 700, which 700. Still 330 million. They got 225. They're not even supposed to be here. We gave them 225 million. They're not even supposed to be here. Speaking of giving people money that we're not supposed to and we fucking hate, apparently. Let's go ahead and show this again, because we didn't do our DDM, which I went over before, that we gave 239 million to the Taliban as well, with COVID relief funds that we sent over to which we sent over there to Ukraine and stuff, and Iran and everything, because we didn't do DDs on the companies that we gave millions of dollars to that actually funded the fucking them. But we'll get into that. We already went over that a little bit, but that's another topic for another day. But Jesus, see what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing here? What is happening right now? So, while they're doing 1,700 winners in 11 days, here is just another one. This just told everybody who did it. And this also told you guys, it took 11 days to run out of funds for 1,700 people. So 1,700 people just gone. It took a week, not even 2 weeks, and it was gone. Now, I want you guys to understand something. So why they gave out all this money so illegal immigrants could go ahead and buy houses. Guess what that did to the housing prices? Housing prices went up because, guess what? Supply went down because they gave the supply to 1,700 illegal immigrants. So 1,700 aliens, not only did you pay for their house, you made housing prices go up because 1,700 came off the market from illegal aliens. 1,700 came off the market, which did what to the fucking housing prices? Skyrocketed them. You see what I'm saying? What a fucking joke. It fucks you over twice. Which raises rent for everybody, because now I have to buy a house. I have to raise rent for me to afford the fucking having that extra real estate. You know what I mean? So now it raises rent for everybody. It completely fucks everyone. Completely fucks over everyone. And not only that, the pandemic left homes out of reach for many Americans. Look at this. 2024 is the lowest since ever, pretty much. It's the hardest ever to own a house. No Americans can own a house, pretty much. It's like the American dream right now. It's just a dream. So why it's a dream for our citizens, you're giving out 1,700 to illegals. By age 30, only 42% of millennials owned a home, compared to 51% of baby boomers. Now that means it dropped 9%. And that's people from 28 to 42. From people that are 27 under, the next generational gap, it's projected to go down. You ready for this? To 32%. 32% of people are going to be able to own a house by the time they're 30. 32%. What? Meanwhile, we're shelling out 1,700 to lucky winners. They're calling them lucky winners in a fucking week. 11 days. Sorry, everyone. Little Biggins is upstairs. He's very upset right now. Just before I keep going, everybody who wished me a happy birthday over the weekend, thank you. I appreciate it. I had a great birthday, by the way. I had a great birthday. First one with the little man, so it was a lot of fun. But again, you look over here, homes will be affordable again, just not anytime soon. So they're projecting it to be about 5 more years before the average person can afford a house again. 5 more years. And that's like a best case fucking scenario type shit. Well, if we're going to keep funding, if they get more money to give more houses to more illegal immigrants, and we keep giving out fucking thousands and thousands of houses to these guys, what the fuck? Hold on a second. Little man's going crazy. Alright, I gotta get going here in a second. We'll keep going a little bit. I'll go real quick here. But one of the things I want to show you guys, because commercial real estate, I always get into it. But here's another thing that just happened, and another thing. You know, I went over Florida last time, and how there's a giant booming bomb going into Florida because of all the new regulations, because all those condos were just, nobody took care of them. Maintenance is costing $100,000 per person, you know, that live in them, house, you know, pricing people out of it. Well, there's another problem now. There's a 557 billion drop in office values in these cities that are, you know, older cities. If you guys look at this, you have all these old office buildings. Nobody's going to buy these things out. The value of real estate, the commercial real estate bomb, the size of this thing, the other factors that keep coming into play, is unreal. You're like talking trillions of dollars that are about to come smashing onto these fucking people's heads, dude. I can't wait to see this. But again, this just came out 2 days ago. Commercial real estate is mostly centered around aging central business districts. Here, I'll be up there. All right, guys. Little man's going crazy. I gotta get going, so I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good day. Sorry about that.